Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we have to cover the French election. There was the first round of the French election yesterday, and I did not make a video initially on it, but because it is heating up and it might be a very close race in the runoff, I believe that it is worth analyzing. Now you have Emmanuel Macron, and he is advancing to the runoff, the current president, with Marine Le Pen, who back in 2017 advanced to the runoff, was seen as this far-right style candidate and ended up only getting like 35% of the vote or so. However, the polls have them neck and neck, and while Marine Le Pen has sort of changed her stances, she's moved a little bit to the left on economics, she doesn't really talk about social issues as much. She's obviously the better candidate compared to Emmanuel Macron, and things could get interesting, and you could still see a massive upgrade in France at the presidential level for them. So we're going to discuss this and talk about this election, how it works. But I have to tell you guys, here in America, the red wave is imminent. Every single metric shows it. You guys know that. So why not cop a Red Wave 22 t-shirt from shop.redeaglepolitics.com. We have a merch store. Finally, you can get t-shirts, coffee mugs. We have all sorts of designs on the website. The link is going to be in the description and the pinned comment. That is shop.redeaglepolitics.com. But talking about the French election, Emmanuel Macron and Marine Le Pen both advancing to the runoff. So a lot of people out there know by now that Emmanuel Macron is this establishment character. He's a weird guy, by the way. He married his teacher. He's the president of France, and he was seen as a massively unpopular figure. His approval rating throughout much of his presidency has been in like the 20s and the 30s, and he was running the country so abysmally that he had to like move significantly to the right, at least on like the globalist issue, for a time just to recover his own approval rating. And his policies didn't work for the working and the middle class. You saw the rise of the yellow vest protests take place all across the country. And as a result, his approval rating was significantly down, and he became neck and neck in the polls with Marine Le Pen for the runoff for a time, despite defeating her by a resounding margin of like 32, 33 points in the 2017 French elections. Times have changed since then, and Macron definitely has expanded his lead from time to time, and sometimes it's dissipated, and we see this here, but the exit polls show, and this is a snap poll from round one during the exit polls, and they show that Macron only has a 2-point lead over Le Pen. And yes, there could be potentially a silent Le Pen vote out there. Now, mind you that Le Pen did sort of fall in line with a lot of the recent polling in France. She outperformed a little bit in some polls. She underperformed a little bit in some polls. And Macron did the same thing. Macron was slated to get around 26, 27% of the vote, and he ended up getting closer to 28%. And you could see this here. That's the way that it is in the Les Républicains candidate, the like center-right, like American Rhino equivalent, basically. Ended up underperforming the polls by like 4 to 5 points there. Now, who is my choice in the race? I wanted Eric Zemmour. That guy's literally the Tucker Carlson of France, and he's actually better than Le Pen was in 2017. And it's unfortunate that he only got 7%. If you look at the polls going back a few months back when he started and initially announced his run, he was polling up there in second place. Now, he was still trailing the general election runoff polls, but he was getting close to 20%, and then Le Pen ended up getting more and more of his share as the election season went on. Unfortunately, I hope that Eric Zemmour eventually could get into power in France, maybe in the future. But as of right now, he is not going to make the runoff. And a lot of the American French votes that came over, like he got like 25% in Miami. Like the French votes that came from America significantly went in favor of Zemmour compared to somebody like Le Pen, even in certain places. It was very interesting to see. But beyond that point, it's going to be between Macron and Le Pen does have a chance. There's a couple weeks between now and the final election. She definitely has to make up some ground, but it's very possible. She's going to have to attack Macron on the policies that he's put into place throughout his entire presidency that have made him so unpopular. And this is what it's going to come down to. Is it sort of a long shot? I mean, yes, there's some polls that have it like a wider margin in favor of Macron. And if Le Pen has underperformed polls by a couple of points, there's really not enough proof that there would be a silent Le Pen vote. But you would hope that Le Pen's turnout would be high. I mean, there was low turnout in some liberal areas of France like Paris. The turnout was lower than expected for a French election, especially in this day and age. But beyond that point, you also have to look at the results and see where are the votes going to go, because people are going to be like, how can Le Pen win? Well, she's going to have to obviously galvanize the Zemmour votes. And I think she could do that. I mean, she'd be at 30 if she got the Zemmour support, and probably a great deal of the latest Republican support. She'd be closer to 35, and some of these other minor candidates, maybe from there, she could get to 36 or 37, assuming that these people hate Emmanuel Macron. And a lot of Mélenchon voters in a lot of these polls are going to Le Pen. Now, Mélenchon, and I think the Les Républicains candidate, if I'm not mistaken, both say that they are supporting Macron, but at the same time, a lot of their voters despise Macron to the point where I'm not entirely sure that they're going to listen to whatever Mélenchon has to say, and they might end up voting for Le Pen anyways because they just simply want to change. And Mélenchon did very well, getting 22% of the vote. And looking at the results of the first round back in 2017, Mélenchon, he only got like 19, so his support has gone up. The Republican support has dipped significantly. I'm sure a lot of that went in favor of either Macron himself, or in some cases Le Pen, or maybe even some of it went for Zemmour. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, she's going to have to galvanize the support base, including picking off a lot of those disaffected Mélenchon voters who just despise Macron. And she's going to need about half of them, if not over half of them, in order to win. And that's what it comes down to. So it's definitely gonna be close. I will say that. I think it's gonna be close. I think if Le Pen pulls it off, it would be an upset. It would be like Brexit level. It would send shockwaves through Europe that there's some form of a populist uprising, even if Le Pen isn't exactly where she was back in 2017. And hopefully, maybe as her presidency goes on, if she does end up winning, well, she could end up being back to where she was 2017 ideologically, because then she would have, more expendability. And if her policies end up being popular, that could grow some sort of a French populist revolution. And we're seeing this all across the world. We see it in Brazil. We saw it here with Trump. We see it we obviously have seen it in Hungary for quite some time now. But national populist candidates are rising in the ranks throughout the world. And obviously Le Pen isn't where she was 5 years ago, but still seeing Le Pen and Zemmour get a decent share of the vote in the first round, and potentially you could see Le Pen get close to winning. I think it would be a positive development, especially if you look at the second round polls. Let's pull up the second round polls. You can see that they're definitely a mixed bag. Some have it razor thin. Others have Macron up by like 5 to 10. We'll just have to wait and see. But either way, it's going to be close. It's going to be fairly close, and there's still 2 weeks, so Le Pen's going to be out there campaigning, galvanizing the support base. It all comes down to turnout. You guys know how elections work, so we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, I would probably say Macron has like a 70% chance to win, but that doesn't mean it's impossible for Le Pen, and I do believe it's going to be like within 10 points or so for sure, might even get within 5. Some of these polls have it within 2, and if there really is a shy Le Pen vote out there that didn't exactly come out for the first round, maybe they're a low propensity voter, they just vote in round 2. I know there's a lot of voters out in America who don't vote in primaries, even if it's like a jungle primary, but they'll get out and vote for the runoff, or they'll get out and vote for the general election. It's possible, but that is yet to be foreseen. So I think Macron is favored, but it would be interesting to see if Le Pen gains traction. Will she get close? Will she actually have a chance to win? We'll have to wait and see in the next couple weeks or so. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.